Welcome to Breaking Wire. Please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for more updates. A political firestorm erupted in Washington, not over foreign policy, but over eggs. California rejected 172 million eggs at its border, citing animal welfare standards under Proposition 12. The move threatened to empty shelves and spike prices, turning a supply chain issue into a national crisis. President Trump was furious, seeing it as a direct challenge to federal authority and a blow to his administration's efforts to curb inflation. California's law, requiring more space for hens, forced out-of-state producers to either upgrade facilities or lose access to a massive market. The standoff transformed a legal debate into a headline-grabbing event with real consequences for American families. Eggs, already a symbol of economic anxiety, now became the center of a political showdown. The administration was forced to respond, as the nation watched the humble egg become a flashpoint in the battle over food, law, and power. In the midst of the crisis, Delaware's Democratic Governor Jay Carney stunned everyone. Instead of staying neutral, Carney announced Delaware would adopt California's strict cage-free egg standards immediately. This move reframed the issue. It wasn't just California versus the federal government anymore. Carney's decision gave momentum to animal welfare advocates and complicated the Trump administration's efforts to isolate California. Suddenly, higher animal welfare standards looked less like a fringe idea and more like a national trend. The White House was blindsided as Carney's move fractured the coalition Trump hoped to build against California. For egg producers, the uncertainty deepened. Would more states follow, and would a patchwork of laws become the new normal? The industry faced expensive upgrades and logistical headaches, unsure which rules would ultimately prevail. Carney's gambit turned a state dispute into a national reckoning over the future of farming. The egg rejection was the latest escalation in a long legal war over California's Proposition 12. The Trump administration sued, arguing that only the federal government can regulate egg standards under the Egg Products Inspection Act. California's law, they claimed, imposed costly burdens on out-of-state farmers and threatened interstate commerce. Animal welfare groups countered that states have the right to set higher standards for products sold within their borders. The Supreme Court had previously upheld Proposition 12, but the new lawsuit sought a different legal angle. The outcome could set a precedent for how food is regulated nationwide, with huge implications for farmers, consumers, and the balance of state and federal power. For shoppers, 2025 brought sticker shock in the egg aisle. Prices soared over 25% in just 3 months. Yet wholesale prices for eggs had actually dropped by half since Trump took office, creating a disconnect between what farmers earned and what consumers paid. And the administration pointed to falling wholesale prices as proof their policies were working, blaming high retail prices on grocers and state regulations. California's egg rejection threatened to reverse any relief, reigniting the debate over whether animal welfare laws or market forces were to blame for high prices. Supporters of Proposition 12 argued that humane treatment was worth a small price increase. The administration insisted that removing regulations was the key to affordable food. The egg crisis became a battleground for competing narratives about inflation, ethics, and who's responsible for the cost of breakfast. For families, the only thing that mattered was the price at the checkout. President Trump lashed out, accusing California of sabotaging the economy and hurting families. He blamed high prices on state policies and corporate greed, insisting his administration was fighting to lower costs. But food economists painted a more complex picture. Presidents have little control over egg prices, which are driven by supply, demand, and disease outbreaks like avian flu. Experts noted that regulations do add costs, but so do inflation, feed prices, and grocers' pricing strategies. The lag between wholesale and retail prices is normal, not a political conspiracy. Blaming any single entity oversimplifies a tangled web of factors shaping the market. The egg crisis, experts said, was about much more than politics. It was a lesson in how fragile and interconnected our food system really is. The president's outrage made headlines, but the real story was far more complicated. Beyond the headlines, the egg crisis hit families and farmers hard. For many, eggs are a dietary staple. When prices spike, budgets are squeezed and choices get tougher. Low-income households feel the pain most, sometimes forced to go without. Farmers face a maze of conflicting laws, invest millions to comply with state rules, or risk losing access to key markets. Legal uncertainty makes every decision a gamble, with livelihoods on the line. grocers and restaurants struggle to secure supply and manage rising costs, while consumers debate whether ethics or affordability matter more. The egg aisle has become a battleground for values, animal welfare versus economic survival. Every rejected shipment ripples through the supply chain, from farm to table. The crisis exposes the real-world impact of policy decisions on everyday lives. The 22 and den 25 den cordio. Meg crisis shows how politics, law, and food are inseparable. A state law meant to protect animals triggered a national showdown, affecting farmers, politicians, and families everywhere. The price of eggs became a symbol of deeper tensions: national standards versus states' rights, efficiency versus ethics. Food became a political weapon, with each side blaming the other for high prices and uncertainty. In the end, it's the farmer and the consumer who pay the price, caught between competing values and shifting rules. The egg aisle is now a microcosm of America's larger debates about food, fairness, and who gets to decide. There are no simple answers, just a complex web of choices and consequences. The humble egg has cracked open a national conversation about what we value most in the food we eat.